Sigma today officially announced the development of a brand new 24-70 f2.8 specific to Sony E-mount. And on the side note of new lenses, I've actually just got a brand new lens that I'm using to actually film this video right now. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I am going to be reviewing it at some point in the near future. But let me know down below how you think it performs in terms of autofocus. Now back onto the topic of the Sigma lens, this is quite an interesting announcement for a couple of different reasons, not all specific to this one lens. I can't really dwell too much on how good or bad I think the lens is going to be because, at least at the time of recording this, there's no hands-on reviews of it. But given the fact that it's a Sigma art lens and Sigma generally don't make bad performing lenses, I can imagine it's going to be pretty good. Now, Sigma also recently released a 14-24 f2.8 art lens for Sony E-mount, and the good thing about that lens and this new 24-70 is that they are designed from the ground up specific to mirrorless. It's not like their original E-mount lenses, which were nothing more than the DSLR versions of the lenses, just modified slightly. Also, at the time of recording this, there's no mention on price for this lens. The Sony 24-70 G Master lens is the far side of $2,000, so I think it's pretty safe to assume that Sigma's 24-70 is going to be well under that. Now, one thing that will disappoint people about this lens is that unlike the DSLR 24-70 that Sigma released a while ago, this version doesn't have optical stabilization built into it, so you're going to have to rely on in-body stabilization if your camera has it. The other thing as well is the fact that they've released a 14-24 f2.8 and now a 24-70 f2.8 means surely they've lined themselves up perfectly to also release a 70-200 f2.8 to go up against the G Master lens. And given that one big complaint I see about the Sony system is the high price tag of the lenses, cheaper third-party options are always a bonus. And third-party lenses are far more appealing when it comes to mirrorless systems than they used to be with the DSLRs, because back with DSLRs you'd always have that whole, is it going to be consistent with the autofocus or not? However, because mirrorless is essentially shooting in live view all the time, then that AF inconsistency isn't as much of a problem. Now, while the price tag of the Sigma might turn out to be quite a bit lower, the size and weight isn't really all that much. Granted, the lens fully retracted is about 1.5 centimeters shorter than the G Master, so it's certainly going to take up less room in your kit bag, but it's still using an 82mm front filter, which is quite large, and in terms of weight, there's only about 40 grams different in favour of the Sigma. So I doubt we're going to see a sudden influx in the second-hand market of 24-70 G Master lenses with everyone scrambling to buy the Sigma lens. But I do think it's going to appeal quite a lot to people who've maybe looked at the G Master lens and just felt that it was too expensive, they couldn't justify it. I think the Sigma's going to be more appealing to them. Now, while the Sigma 24-70 is still kind of weighty, it's good to see that Sigma are keeping the weight under control and making it less than the competition, unlike their usual philosophy of making everything weigh 3/4 of a ton. However, for me, the more interesting aspect of this announcement actually has nothing to do with Sigma, and more to do with Tamron and Sony. When Tamron announced the 28-75, and everyone was asking, why did you go with that focal range and not 24-70? Tamron's official response was that they tried to do a 24-70 and found they couldn't physically make the lens any smaller than the Sony 24-70 G Master. But Sigma's basically just proven that wrong. However, I don't think that Tamron were being completely honest with us about that. I actually think Tamron's reasoning behind it was more intentional and had something to do with Sony dictating what lenses they can make. However, I'm going to cover all of that in another video coming out very soon. But that's it for this video. So what do you make of the new announcement from Sigma? Is this a lens that is going to be appealing to you, or are you going to be sticking with a different lens, and if so, what? Leave your thoughts and comments in the box down below. While you're down there, if you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and there is a link to my Patreon account if you'd like to support my channel through that. Thank you so much for stopping by, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.